I appreciate that.
And some days I get pissed off at the person behind the counter when I'm ordering a coffee who can't understand me.
Hi there, I'm Danielle Elliott-Smith, and this is Hope Comes to Visit, where we celebrate conversations about hope, healing, and the power of story. My guest today is Candice Suarez. Candice is a life drafting coach with a passion for helping people navigate life's transitions with clarity, creativity, and confidence. From her professional roles as a school counselor, behavior specialist, and mobile therapist, Candice gained in-depth insight into human development, emotional regulation, and the importance of supportive guidance. She holds a master's degree in education with a concentration in school counseling and has spent over 2 decades supporting individuals through every stage of growth. Let's take a quick moment to thank the people that support and sponsor the podcast. When life takes an unexpected turn, you deserve someone who will stand beside you. St. Louis attorney Chris Dully offers experienced one-on-one legal defense. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP, or you can visit dullylawfirm.com. That's DULLE lawfirm.com for a free consultation. Candice, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I am so excited to talk to you about everything you're doing and everything you've been through to get to right here, right now. Tell me, would you prefer to start with what you have coming up or where you've been to get to right now?
Probably where I've been to get to where I'm at right now would probably be the most likely place to start. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with your cancer journey. That was in 2022, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, so a surprise diagnosis?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Prior to that, I had tongue cancer.
You had tongue cancer, okay.
Yeah, tongue cancer, which explains my altered voice. So I always feel like that is the best place to start.
Okay.
So nobody is wondering why is she talking that way. So I would say not a surprise because I had a history of white spots on my tongue that would occasionally be biopsied and be fine. But this one was different. And I knew that from the start, it was like a painful ulcer that wouldn't go away.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So your dentist had been on top of it. So you'd had things checked a few times.
Yeah.
Was it ever on your radar that it might come back as malignant as compared to benign when you'd had things checked before?
Nobody really ever told me that. They said it might be this, it might be that. No one was ever very definitive about what it was. And then it was COVID. When I started to get, the pain that wouldn't go away. And I went to my family doctor first, who I described my situation of having the normal biopsies, the possible explanation of what it could be, and she said, "Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's this. Try this steroid cream and see how it goes." Well, also imagine putting a steroid cream on your tongue.
Right. I imagine that it's not a good time. I mean, I would think like anytime I've ever had like a canker sore or using like an Ambisol or something that numbs whatever that. I used to get canker sores when I was a kid and my parents were like, here's $2. You can go to the store and get yourself too much candy. And that would inevitably cause some type of canker sore. And I've had them on my tongue or on my lower jaw,
and it hurts.
It absolutely hurts. So,
so by the time, eventually, I was starting to eat on the other side of my mouth. I was starting to avoid anything acidic.
Right.
It was starting to affect my speech.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So how long is this process from the time you go to your general doctor and your steroid cream and your treating it as though it is something benign, if you will, that you go to someone special.
I remember noticing it becoming worse the summer of 2021. I went to my doctor in September, and by end of November is when it was really starting to affect my life. I went to a dentist early December, and they said, okay, they literally walked me next door to the oral surgeon and scheduled me a biopsy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you feel a little bit relieved, like someone's taking me seriously, this is nice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So they scheduled... But I knew at that point. Like, it was, they prescribed me, I was on lots of Advil and Tylenol. At that point, they just prescribed me something called Magic Mouthwash. Magic Mouthwash,
okay.
Which kind of numbs it for about half an hour, which made it easier to eat.
Okay.
But by Christmas time, I had a cancer diagnosis. It was a week between Christmas and New Year's, 2021.
Okay.
And so by the beginning of the year, 2022, it was so painful I wasn't speaking. I was texting with my family. I pulled back from working at the time. I was starting to take pain medication.
Okay.
Yeah. And they kept passing me up the chain of specialists. So by the time I landed with my treatment machine, my surgery was scheduled for March.
Okay, so that took a little bit longer than I would like to think it should take.
Yeah.
From your diagnosis to landing with the appropriate treatment team.
Yeah.
Well,
I landed with them January, early February, and then scheduled for the beginning of March. Yeah.
Okay, but in the meantime, you are in a tremendous amount of pain.
Tremendous amount of pain, and not speaking. So I remember waking up in the middle of the night, and I had kept really good notes because I was like, okay, what can I take right now? So and I had a feeding tube inserted.
Because you'd stopped eating.
Because I wasn't eating enough to maintain.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, like hydration levels as well as food. So I was dropping weight, really weak, couldn't eat. So I had a feeding tube. So I had liquid Tylenol, liquid Advil, and liquid strong painkillers. So I had a running tab of, I can say this one every 4 hours, this one every 6. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you poor thing. So tongue cancer is not one that we hear a ton about.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you learned quite a bit about it.
Yeah. So, obviously there are certain lifestyle choices that can contribute to it. Smoking, drinking alcohol, chewing tobacco. I had done none of that. Never was a smoker. I was a social drinker like most of us. But mine was a logical progression of the white patches on my tongue. Which is an autoimmune condition like in plainness.
Okay.
So those developed into cancer occasionally. Tongue cancer or back of throat cancer can also be HPV connected, but mine was not HPV connected.
So that I know because my significant other a few years ago had tonsil cancer, and it was that. And the doctors told us at the time that they are finding far more HPV related throat and mouth cancers in men than they are uterus wise in women.
Wow.
That they're finding more in men in the throat and tonsils and back of the throat. Yeah. And I was very surprised to hear that. But at the time, I was like, do I work? Like, how how do we get checked for these things?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a whole new realm of thought process for me. But they also did say that the HPV related throat and tongue cancers have a better survival rate and are more easily treated than if it was not HPV related. So he was treated and in remission in less than 9 months. So it was a good outcome. So how has your treatment and outcome been?
Good. It was a stage 4 tumor.
Wow.
Because of the size and invasiveness of it. So they removed over half of my tongue.
Wow.
And rebuilt it with a skin graft from my forearm. Yeah.
Okay.
And they also...
Medicine is amazing to me. Medicine and science are amazing.
Amazing. And they did a full dissection and removed lymph nodes, all of which, thankfully, were cancer-free. But because they didn't get clear margins from my tumor removal, I did 6 weeks of daily radiation and chemotherapy.
Okay. How have you been recovery-wise through that process?
But it's been 3 years, so happy about that. I always say the whole cancer treatment is like you cocoon. Like you kind of like, you're in this bubble where everything outside of that moves on along as it is, but you're not moving with it. You're just kind of there. And I found the most difficult part for me was coming back with the voice I have. My favorite things in life are talking and eating.
You're like, why make me change the two things that I love the most?
I love the most. And to go, essentially 9-10 months of not being really able to eat and my speech being affected, I still have eating struggles, obviously, and I still have my voice, but I'm not the kind of person to sit home and be quiet. I still go on social dinner outings and stuff because I love it. So,
what has the learning curve been like for you in terms of speaking? I mean, having half of your tongue removed and having a dissection in your throat and your lymph nodes, obviously there's a bit of relearning to do there. What has that been like for you?
The eating part was harder, like the speech. Yeah. It was like this pretty much from the beginning.
Okay.
I did go to a speech therapist, but it was more for the swallowing muscles.
Okay.
Because I had to relearn how to swallow and build up the strength of the muscles in that area.
Okay.
Because I hadn't used them, and because I can't move things around with my tongue like I used to be able to, so I have to eat and be very careful of not choking.
Okay.
That was the biggest learning curve with that. And it still is, because I still talk too fast.
I've always spoken too fast. Talking too fast has always been the criticism that I received in anything I did. When I was first working in television, it was slow down, Danielle, slow down. And I just, I think fast, I talk fast.
Yeah. And I usually, when I speak somewhere, I always say, remind me, because I get excited and I want to say it all out fast. So I always tell people, if you miss something I said, I'm happy to repeat myself, but yeah.
Well, that's good. How has everyone been around you? Did your family and loved ones all just take good care of you? And
Yeah, I'm very blessed with a strong support system. My husband was there for me. Our son, he's a freshman in college right now. At the time, he was in 9th grade. So So he was, my mom came and stayed with us. My dad came to town and stayed with us. So I have family support in keeping his life as normal as possible. Right. Friends that would take him to swim practice and all of that. So
how much of this lived experience informs your life drafting philosophy? Because you have a book coming out in October.
Yeah.
I think the date is tentatively the beginning of October.
Yeah.
But you have a life drafting philosophy that I want to talk about. How much of this lived experience you have informs life drafting?
100% of it.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
I always say I've always wanted to be someone who wrote a book on growth and mindset and all of that. Years and years I've wanted to do it. But this experience solidified it a little bit more for me. And I came upon life drafting because nothing is ever perfect. You can't ever plan, everything to achieve. I mean, but we try though, don't we?
We do try. We definitely try. We plan for our pregnancies and our weddings and our perfect house and
our vacations and
and jobs. And I can't tell you how many times I've told my kids, like, it's okay if this is the path you're planning for. If you diverge or if you change your mind later, that's okay.
Yeah.
I've changed career paths, and there are a few threads that have continued to run through what I do throughout the course of my life. But I've changed officially many times. Change as much as you want.
Yeah, 100%. And that is what I coach teens and young adults. I do college admissions coaching.
College admission, okay.
But
that's amazing.
Also coach adults. So I coach everything. I'm building a community for empty nest moms because I need community right now. But the biggest thing I want to get across to all of my audiences is that it doesn't have to be a perfect plan. Yes, plan, but always be open for reassessing. Always be open for editing, crossing things off, moving them around, starting from scratch and starting over. I like to call it keep everything as a sloppy copy.
A sloppy copy, okay.
Yeah, because I do believe in planning, but in pencil, right? Because you can never know for any amount of certainty what's coming down the road.
This is true.
And we ask kids from such an early age, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? And I want to take the pressure off of them when they're 17 and everyone's saying, what are you going to major in? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? They don't have to know. Do I believe that they should do that self-exploration and look at possibilities? 100%. That's why I have the book. But be open to it changing. Be open to you changing. Because you're not going to be the same person you are at 17 as you will at 24, as you will at 36, etc. And I do this type of self-analysis every year. So it is not a once and done, set it and forget it. It is a constant evolution.
So when do you do your own self-analysis? I
do like November, December every year.
Okay.
With the new year coming up as the, trajectory. I have always done my whole year, but every year I get to about this point of the year and say, wait a second, this is not where I thought I would be. So I feel like I want to do more of a quarterly.
Okay.
Like that 90-day, 100-day sweet spot because
Okay.
you could have some maybe fuzzier, longer veins, but I think, because you can't know what's coming around the bend.
Is that self-assessment personal, professional, a combination of the two?
All of it. So
Okay.
I do 4 life buckets, I call them.
Okay. I like it.
One of them is health.
House, okay.
Health. H-E-A-L-T.
Health, okay. So health, sorry, okay.
Oh, that's okay. Assessing your physical, emotional, spiritual health.
Okay.
Your satisfaction in that, what's going well, what we might like to change.
Okay.
The second is connection. So your family, your friends, what's going well, what would you like to see different? Contribution, which is your work, what you're putting into the world, how you're contributing to your household, to your community.
Okay.
And the fourth is play. How are you incorporating joy in your life? So I take those 4, and, from there, I usually do a couple more steps, but that is what I always start with.
I love that because you didn't say home, work, like you allow contribution to be a mix of all of that. Like, where am I contributing in the world? Mm-hmm. How am I contributing via work? How am I contributing to my home? How am I contributing to what my kids are doing? And then you're making sure to say there has to be play in our life somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And, I really like that. Like, what am I doing for myself health-wise? And you're incorporating physical and mental and spiritual. Mm-hmm. I really like those 4 buckets. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Is this incorporated in the life drafting book? What is the title of the book?
It is Draft U.
Draft U. Okay, like Draft University.
Yep. A life drafting journal. So it's actually a 6-month journal workbook.
Okay.
Where I introduce a topic every week, and there are daily journal prompts or activities for deeper introspection.
Now, I know you do a lot of work with teens and with younger people. Is the book for everyone, or is it geared primarily for the younger heading to college?
The voice of it is definitely geared towards 18 to 25, 17 if they're mature.
Okay.
17 to 24, 25 is a sweet spot.
Okay.
My plan is to do a follow-up.
That was my next question, so good.
My plan is to do a follow-up that will be geared towards grown-ups in transition. I love the concept of people that are in the space between no longer and not yet. So that how do you manage that transition of your life and giving tools to figure out where you are and set where you want to go.
That's fantastic. So professionally, do you work primarily? I mean, I know you mentioned some adults and then college admissions. The bulk of your work is where?
It's about 50-50 right now. Bulk of it is probably college admissions. But I would like to lean more into the holistic life coaching piece of that age group. And bring it into college age. I have a coaching membership for adults that I call the Draft Lab. that I have a lot of member benefits that, and my higher level of that coaching membership has one-on-one coaching. Yeah.
That's amazing. How long have you been doing that?
About 4 years. Yeah.
Okay. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I started it 4 years ago, had time off for cancer. So again, for free. Yeah.
how much would you say that process or that version of you changed before cancer, after cancer? Because I know that the drafting, the life drafting is informed by that experience. What did the 1.0 version of you learn to carry into 2.0 Candice?
I've always been a life transition coach. That is what when I started my business in 2021, that is what I wanted to do. At that point, I thought I had been through a lot. Career transition, moving from state to state. But this cancer, and still going out and speaking and doing my thing with this voice just deepens it. I don't know how else to describe it other than having a stronger ownership of what I'm saying.
It feels very much, I don't ever say everything happens for a reason. I do think that what happens to us, it's on us to decide what to do with it.
100%.
And so I would never say this happened to you so that you could, but I can see what you're doing with it. Yes. Right? I can see that you had a choice to say, well, this just robbed me of my voice. Like I had a career that was based entirely on me having a voice. I don't feel like I have a voice anymore. And instead you said, no, wait a second. This builds into what it looks like to change and evolve and to cocoon and to come out stronger. And therefore, here I am, right?
I am.
Now, and I think what's powerful about what you're doing is one of the reasons that I want to do this podcast is because I believe that level of hope can meet people exactly where they are, depending on what they're going through at any given time, because we do have the choice. We do have the choice to stay in the cocoon. We have the choice to say, I can't get up. I can't. It really and truly feels like I cannot get up. And my hope is that there's someone listening right now who says, well, if Candice can get up and she can smile and laugh through this, and she can be as bright and as vibrant and as beautiful and find a purpose, in a greater purpose in what she was already doing, and make it bigger and better and stronger, then you know what? Maybe I can too.
Yeah. And and for me to want to be a speaker, and because that is my tentative vision for what I want to do. I want to write my books and I want to talk about them and coach people. And for me to do that and to want to get on a stage and talk to people with this voice, I think can be powerful.
Why do you say tentative?
I do, don't I? Because we are all a work in progress, right? We're all a draft. And, yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I appreciate that.
And some days I get pissed off at the person behind the counter when I'm ordering a coffee who can't understand me.
And that's okay, right? I think that what you're saying right there is incredibly powerful. Just because we have chosen to do something strong and powerful with the experiences we've had, because we are choosing a strong route, doesn't mean it isn't hard.
Right.
Doesn't mean we don't ever have moments where we're not really pissed off about it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that we don't have moments where we're brought to our knees by it. And that's okay too, because that's part of the process.
Yeah.
How do you define hope?
I define hope as not a hope that everything will be okay, but a hope that I will be able to handle what comes. Because I do optimism research because I love the idea of optimism, but it's not all sunshine and roses, but it's an optimism that I will be able to deal with it. Not that it'll be easy, but yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. And that to me is acceptance. Mm-hmm. And it's the notion of surrender to a degree, right? Mm-hmm. It's rather than trying to control the situation, it's recognizing that I can't control the situation. I can control me. And what I need is the strength and the resilience and the know-how and the belief in myself to get through whatever comes my way. Yeah. And I like that definition of hope. I mean, it's one of the questions I typically ask everyone because our hope is one of those words, and I'm a word nerd, that doesn't have just one definition, right? Yeah. And to everyone, it means something a little bit different. But the idea behind this podcast is that everyone has a story of hope that can inspire someone else, depending on where they are in their 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 journey. So where can people find you?
Lifedrafting.com is my website. And that on social media also, Awesome Growth Coaching on Instagram, Awesome Growth Coaching on Facebook, or me personally on Facebook. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I am so grateful to you for taking time. Your story is truly inspiring. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you would like to share?
I don't think so. I feel like I shared what I wanted to share.
I really appreciate you being here with me and taking time, and I am inspired by the work that you're doing and the fact that you are not tentatively using your voice, that you are truly using your voice. And I am confident that I'll be able to be in the audience sometime when you're speaking.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being here with me.
Thanks for having me.
And friends, thank you for joining us on another episode of Hope Comes to Visit. I'm Danielle Elliott-Smith. I so hope that you have found the same inspiration and light in Candice's story that I have, and that you will turn around and share it with someone you know needs to have that same inspiration, light, wisdom, and heart and strength. And you will come back and visit us again, that you will share and that you will comment and you will like and you will do all the good things that hope needs to have in our world. And until I see you again, please take good care of you. Thank you for being here. Naturally, it's important to thank the people who support and sponsor the podcast. This episode is supported by Chris Dully, a trusted criminal defense attorney and friend of mine here in St. Louis, who believes in second chances and solid representation. Whether you're facing a DWI, felony, or traffic issue, Chris handles your case personally, with clarity, compassion, and over 15 years of experience. When things feel uncertain, it helps to have someone steady in your corner. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP, or you can visit dullylawfirm.com to schedule your free consultation.